Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
So it's showing me Starbucks that are 5,800 miles away. Interesting. Yeah, Mercedes.
Please repeat.
I need a Starbucks that's close to me. Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. Every now and again, you gotta treat yourself. And my way of treating myself is spending a week with this 2024 Mercedes-Maybach S680. The 680 comes with the V12 engine. And I can't think of too many cars on the new car market these days that still offer V12s, but they are so naturally harmonically balanced and so very powerful when tuned like this one is. So today we're going to go through what is this car. It's going to be a little bit less should you buy it, because if you are in this marketplace, the should you or should you not buy these sort of cars is a little bit different than if you were someone looking for something like a Toyota Camry or Honda Accord, but still might be able to help some of you 1%ers push you one way or the other. But it's also just going to be sort of an acknowledgement of what Mercedes is capable of up at the very tip top of their model range. And I'm just seeing right now that a bird has had their way with the edge of the car. It's crazy. This was clean when I left the house. I've had it parked in my garage. So that must have happened here along the way. RIP. So this is a lengthened version of the standard Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Like I said, coming with that V12 engine. You can also get the 580 coming with the turbo V8. And this is the Night Edition, or Night Series, I think they're calling it. Let's check the little door stopper here. Yes, Night Series, coming in around $280,000 as you're seeing it, with this two-tone paint and a bunch of exterior features. Check out these wheels with these inserts with all the Maybach logos on here. Really, it's just plastic, but pretty fancy-dancy wheels. What are we looking at, 24s? No, just 20s, actually. Kind of surprised we don't have bigger wheels here. This emblem lights up at night. This says Maybach on it. Darkened out badges here for the Night Series. Trunk, no big surprises. Big old subwoofer for the 31-speaker Burmester 4D high-end sound system. Check the link below if you want to see that. Also, I highly recommend signing up for the members-only sound test. We tested some really great tracks so far with this one. This giant box right here is the champagne cooler, which you can access from the inside. We'll see that here in a moment. If you needed a little bit of extra trunk space for some luggage, you can remove that quite easily. Let that power close. And let's head into the inside of the car to check out some of the amazing features in the back seat. Because once you get to this type of vehicle, it's much more likely that you're going to be chauffeured than drive it yourself. We can close the doors with some gestures. However, the car isn't fired up, so I don't think that's going to work. Let's see if we can turn the screen on before the car's on. Yes, it does seem like it is coming to life. I was able to get the gesture close to work one time, and ever since then, I have not been able to replicate it. But let's see here. Executive seats. No. Okay, let's climate. Again, why wouldn't, we're going to get into this for a con, but why wouldn't this just be a very quick and easy function? Why would I have to go all the way back into, where is it, settings, vehicle, comfort, operate comfort doors, just to get that to close right there. But once you're in back, you have Maybach pillows, seats that open all the way up into a full recline position. In fact, I will show you here. Move some of my items, and if we go home, comfort, seat positioning, and then we click on the right seat, we can go right there, and then that seat moves itself all the way forward. This one eventually this is probably something you'd already have done before your passenger were even picked up. Or they could wait, you know, it's not the end of the world. That footrest comes up and out. Yes, look at that. Excellent comfort here. Oh, that little footrest comes out as well. Yeah, that's pretty darn cool, especially for a sedan. So let's get that coming back into its upright position. Right here, you'll see some cup holders that are coolable, as well as climate controls, and then these little cup holders, which have snaps in them, for your champagne glasses. Pull these out. You can set them right in there. In some jurisdictions, it is legal to drink in the back of a moving vehicle. I think Virginia is one of those states, surprisingly, because Virginia, you can't go 3 miles per hour above the speed limit without being hauled off to Guantanamo Bay, but you can drink in the back of a moving vehicle as long as you're not driving. Here's the access to your champagne cooler, or whatever else, juice boxes you might want to put in there. Then you've got your little airplane seats. I like these. Bring this out, just like so. Get some work done, because if you're being driven in this car, chauffeured, there might be work that you could do to justify the cost of both your driver and your Maybach. Close this down. This is a little Samsung tablet, which is supposed to be able to be popped out, but I suppose the vehicle probably has to be on. It'd be nice if I could start the vehicle from the back. Probably not exactly safe, but this pops out and can mirror either of these screens, which is definitely good if you are in the front of the vehicle, because you can help control things for your passenger back here. Pretty impressive bits in the back seat of the Maybach, but more impressive is driving it. But we will get to the driving experience shortly, because it's time to get into my pros and cons, and they both hit pretty hard. And the first con is the technology. Mercedes-Maybach, the Mercedes-Benz user experience infotainment system, has been around for a number of years now, and it is fine, it's powerful, but it's not very user-friendly. And in today's day and age of infotainment systems, it's starting to fall behind from both a usability standpoint and a technology standpoint, what it's capable of. You get into the car, and there's too many delays with what you need to do in the infotainment system. So whether you're clicking around and you're bringing up different aspects, let's say I want to bring up Amazon Music, all those delays there as things are loading up, and let's say, okay, I want to go to a certain playlist, so I'm going to have to go here, click that, and then it brings it up full screen, click this, okay, I'm waiting, now slide over, My Music, Playlists, okay, and there we go. And mind you, that was actually pretty quick compared to how long it's taken in the past. In today's day and age of modern systems that work as quickly as smartphones and are as high resolution and as responsive as smartphones, what, didn't I press that home button? There we go. All right. It's getting less and less excusable for a vehicle of this price point to have technology that feels like it's in a car that came out maybe 5 or 10 years ago. I can't wait to use something like Aston Martin's new Apple CarPlay Ultra and see how quick and responsive a system like that is, because this doesn't feel intuitive, nor does it feel powerful in a vehicle that should be both intuitive and powerful. So I'm really satisfied with Apple CarPlay Ultra. I want it to come to more vehicles, and I want auto manufacturers to start realizing that you don't need a very complex system. I get a new Mercedes product with Maybach, so I'm like, yeah, okay, this system can do so much, but I don't care because it's also unintuitive and takes so many steps and doesn't work well on the road. I get into something like this Apple CarPlay Ultra system, and it just works, and it works well. That's how car infotainment should be. And then you get into the voice commands. Let's show you how to use a voice command here. Let's say I wanted to navigate somewhere. Hey Mercedes, navigate to the nearest Starbucks.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
So it's showing me Starbucks that are 5,800 miles away. Interesting. Yeah, Mercedes.
Please repeat.
I need a Starbucks that's close to me.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
Okay, so now the nearest one is 6.2 miles away. Oh, and it's not even, those aren't Starbucks, those are Mercedeses. Oh, it might have heard me earlier. Okay, so let's just totally start over.
Sorry, something went wrong.
Yeah, I know it did. Hey, Mercedes. Hey, Mercedes. And now it's just entirely not working. So it brings up the Mercedes system when you don't want it to, and it doesn't bring it up when you do want it to. That's what I'm saying here, guys. For this type of vehicle, the technology should be flawless, and it isn't. Navigate to the closest Starbucks.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
The closest one.
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
So you see, then it's requiring me
What can I do for you?
Cancel.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again, please?
Cancel. So you saw how cumbersome that was, and how, again, it's like using a voice command system from 10 years ago. Now I'm going to flash right here to our Chevrolet that we have at home that starts at $35,000 with a Google-based infotainment system. Watch how simply that works. Okay, Google, navigate to the nearest Starbucks.
Starbucks. All right.
That is how in-car infotainment should work. You see how easy that was? No delay, no showing me Starbucks 5,000 miles away. That's what we should be demanding. So I'm not saying that the MBUX system can't be learned and adjusted to, but when there's so much that this vehicle is capable of, and it's running technology that feels inferior to cars that cost a tenth of as much, not a good look. And then moving on top of that, it's the general usability of this car. And I will preface it before I get too far in that the BMW is not that much better, the top level 7 Series, because some of these, I know this is a Maybach, but the complaints transcend down to the normal S-Class as well. The 7 Series suffers from the same issues of, yes, it has all this technology, but it's difficult to use. And a luxury car should be both powerful and simple and straightforward and make your life easier. There's so much of this vehicle that makes my life harder, between the sliders for the volume controls, between the lack of physical controls around the vehicle, between the lack of physical media controls for me adjusting on the steering wheel, between the doors that are supposed to be able to be closed and opened with gestures and they don't always work properly, to these seat controls that some are operated here in the door and then some are only operated in the center touchscreen, and they're not real buttons. They're sort of these haptic things that you push. I've spent a week with the car. I've spent a lot of time in a lot of newer Mercedes products. Some of it takes just getting used to, but other aspects of the vehicle are just plain frustrating to use. And a luxury vehicle shouldn't be frustrating. It should make your life easier. Next, interior materials. This shouldn't be happening in a $300,000 car. This rattle shouldn't be happening in a $300,000 car. These scratches on this piano black around the steering wheel shouldn't be happening in a $300,000 car. I'm not one to complain about interior materials in general in vehicles. If we're reviewing something $40,000, $50,000 car, no big deal. I'm not going to harp on it. But you're talking a vehicle with how many miles? Something like 4,000 miles on it? Yeah, 4,300 miles. And you've got this. You've got that. Ugh, I'm sorry, but it's not in the same ballpark as the Bentleys and the Rolls Royces. That's really where you're seeing the drop here, and it's frustrating. It really is. I mean, there are just things that you touch and interact with in this car. Should feel nicer. Should feel nicer at this price point. My next con is a bit more philosophical, but I want you to hang with me here on this one. The upper end S-Class, this S680 model and the S580 as well, the Maybachs, suffer from this awkward in-between in a lot of different aspects. The first of which being Mercedes doesn't quite know how it wants to brand itself these days. On one hand, it wants to be very tech forward, it wants to have this wow factor and kind of appeal to a younger market, where you've got all this interior ambient lighting that you can even see here in bright daylight. and you've got this very impressive sound system with the tweeters that rotate out of the dash, and you've got built-in Dolby Atmos with the Amazon and Apple Music, and most of the technology features that you expect to see in these types of vehicles. And you've got these screens and kind of this more modern look. But then on the other side, it still wants to kind of be this old money feel of the big floaty Luxobarge sedan and the emblem out front sticking up and this kind of older wood grain pleated pant looking design. It's kind of awkwardly one side or the other. It's like they're trying to pander to both audiences and coming up short for both of them. And again, Mercedes isn't the only brand doing this these days. Lexus is super guilty of it as well, where they don't really know if they want to be this sort of technology, sporty brand, or if they want to be more kind of old money, traditional Lexus buyers. Because at the end of the day, those buyers are going to not be here any longer, and you're going to have to appeal to the younger buyers. But Mercedes doesn't quite know how to do that yet. You either need to be going full Tesla and Chinese car levels of technology and essentially be driving a computer, or you need to take it a step back and you need to return to subtle luxuries. You need to have analog clocks, and you need to have physical buttons and real gauges, and a car that is easy to use and just comfortable from an inherent perspective. You're going to lose all of your buyers having this awkward in-between. Again, if we look at a brand like Rolls-Royce, they come out with this forward-thinking product like the Spectre, an entirely electric vehicle, but yet they make it and present it in a way that's very straightforward and easy to use for the traditional luxury sort of buyer of a Rolls-Royce. Also, quick side note, yellow Kia Stinger. Very cool, Mr. Kia Stinger buyer. Looks like it's a GT as well. That is excellent. The next awkward in-between that the S680 falls into is in between something like the buyer of a Bentley and Rolls-Royce, or something like the buyer of a normal S-Class. Because at the end of the day, this is an S-Class. A lot of the elements of it are just about as nice as a normal S-Class. But it's carrying the price of getting up into Bentley, Flying Spur, and above money. So, are you going to stretch if you're a normal S-Class buyer to get into something like a Maybach and kind of have that clout? Maybe, but if you could stretch, wouldn't you rather be seen in something like a Bentley or maybe a Rolls-Royce Ghost? I don't know. It's kind of this awkward in-between spot. And I don't know if Maybach has earned itself the reputation of kind of being that sort of car. Now, the original Maybach products, maybe not the original, but back in the 2000s, the 57 and what was it, 64 or 65, whatever those two Maybach models were, those were different enough from a standard S-Class that they seemed like an entirely different vehicle. And yes, they didn't necessarily do all that well, but now they've got a clout to them and sort of a uniqueness that helps them stand apart. This S680 is not unique enough from a normal S-Class for it to really get the attention that Mercedes would probably want it to have. But now, moving into the pros for the S680 Maybach, and there are quite a few. The first of which being this V12 engine. V12s still make the best luxury engines, no question about it. Now, yes, once we get into electrification, plug-in hybrids, electrics, there are certainly pros to those, the instant torque, the smoothness, but if you're just talking what's the best internal combustion format for propelling a luxury vehicle, it's the V12. And Mercedes makes one of the best V12 engines on the market. It's so powerful, so smooth, so dialed in for this luxury experience. The wall of torque that comes from a V12 engine, it's satisfying and it makes sense for a luxury vehicle. The next pro, and I know this sounds a little minor perhaps, but whether you're the driver or the passenger, something that is nice about this car is the maneuverability. It's a huge vehicle, but because of the rear wheel steering, I could do something like make this right turn into this parking spot, and look at this. Perfectly wedged in, and that's because this car has a remarkably tight turning radius thanks to its rear wheel steering. And the steering is light. You can use the cameras to get yourself around the vehicle and around parking lots. Certainly nice to have for a vehicle this large. The next pro is the comfort. There's no getting past how comfortable this car is from both a driver and passenger perspective. I took a few of my close friends for rides in this car because it really is that impressive, and they just didn't want to get out of the seat. Even, especially my wife, Alyssa, we've got a 3-month baby at home, and she just wanted to stay in that back seat with the heated massage on and the music playing, seat reclined back. She just wanted me to drive around because floats along the road. So you've got the interior comfort elements, the mechanical comfort elements. They nailed comfort with this car. My next pro is the sound system. This 31 speaker Burmester high-end 4D sound system is one of the best that I've ever tested. It's not only just impressive from a pure sound perspective, but it also has just the right amount of kind of gimmick and wow factor that makes you feel like you're getting something worth nearly $300,000. So if you want to listen to it in a more pure, simple audiophile way, it has that setting. But then if you want more of the punch from the speakers and the exciters that are in the seats and in the ceiling and around the vehicle to give this kind of over-the-top sound system listening experience, it does that as well. Again, if you care about audio at all, I highly recommend you check out our sound system review, and even better, check out the members-only sound system test because it's a lot of fun to listen to. The last pro for the Maybach is the wow factor. I know I said earlier in the video that this car it kind of has this awkward in-between something like a Rolls-Royce or a Bentley and then the standard S-Class. But once people experience the car, there is a wow to it that even something like a Flying Spur or a Ghost doesn't have. And again, I think it depends on what sort of luxury experience you're looking for. If you're looking for something a little bit more understated and speak softly and carry a large stick, that's going to be a little bit more of your Flying Spur and your Ghost. But if you want the wow factor, if you want the razzle dazzle and the lights and the sound system and the seat bolster inflators and massage and the attention getters, this car does that for both the owner and for people looking on. It does have a pop and a wow factor to it that even gets me excited, and it takes a lot for me to get excited about a car these days because I do drive just so many of them, and I've experienced so many of the gimmicks and the features of the new car world. But I have enjoyed this car, I really have. There are frustrations with it, absolutely, but the wow factors have certainly made it a fun week. At the end of the day, what makes the Maybach so good is the fact that the S-Class is so good. The basic Mercedes-Benz S-Class is still one of my favorite vehicles on the market. It's the staple luxury car. If you haven't driven just a normal S-Class, you're going to be amazed with how much better that car feels than nearly every other car on the market. Goodness, Mr. 4Runner. So a lot of what I appreciate about how the S680 drives and how it is to be inside just comes from the core vehicle being that good. So that's where it gets a little bit difficult for me to justify more than double the cost of a standard S-Class for, yes, very nice features and elements of the vehicle that certainly elevate it, but do they really justify double the cost of an S-Class, or would I want an entirely different model of vehicle for this sort of money? That's tough to say. It really is. But I'm sure there is a buyer out there, or else Mercedes would not be making this product. So before we wrap up today, we do have to put the S680 on the Daily Motor Leaderboard. Current leaders of the Daily Motor Leaderboard: Hyundai Santa Fe, Jeep Gladiator, and Nissan Armada. This is where the S680 is going. Right up here below the Honda Civic hatch and above the Ram Power Wagon. And for any of you who aren't familiar with the Daily Motor Leaderboard, it's essentially a ranking of just my experience with the cars. how has the car wowed me, impressed me, frustrated me, made a case for itself to be a car worth buying in the year of our Lord 2025. And so cars at the top, doesn't matter what type of vehicle they are, kind of what they represent, how much they cost. It's just, was I impressed with what that vehicle was bringing to the table compared to the other cars I've driven? So if you look at the bottom, Nissan Murano, Mazda CX-5, Lincoln Nautilus are cars that I was just kind of left with, why would you buy this car as opposed to anything else on the market? So this one kind of in the middle. I get it, it's cool, it's impressive, but there are elements of it to me that are too frustrating to really justify it being near the top. So thank you all so much for watching. If you do want to see more on the S680 Maybach, check the link below. Again, that sound system, one of the best things about the car. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.